spousal abuse, excessive corporal punishment for children, abuse in that sense, and players have been suspended or simply released by the league. And again, not in any way, shape, or form to belittle those things. Those are horrific things. They should never happen. But sometimes if you watch the media, that's all you think the NFL is just a bunch of thugs. The Super Bowl today, and I was watching the Today Show this morning, everything that they were talking about was about the halftime show. And the NFL has had some notorious halftime shows at the Super Bowl, some of which are very embarrassing, certainly not family-friendly. Some of the acts they brought on, the NFL Super Bowl halftime show sort of introduced into our vocabulary collectively as a culture the term wardrobe malfunction a few years ago. And so the NFL needs to hire a good PR person, okay? I'm willing to take a crack at it for, $50 million a year or something like that. It's fine with me. But I want you to know that the NFL, like any other professional sports league, the Major League Baseball, has a number of men in it who are thoroughly committed, devout followers of Jesus Christ. And that's an amazing and a wonderful thing. And so in the spirit of Super Bowl Sunday, can't call it that because the Super Bowl owns the patent to that. Football Sunday is the term that we've used. We wanted to bring to you, we had an unprecedented opportunity, okay? Some of you may wonder, well, what did it cost you, all these videos? Let me total that up real quick. Nothing, okay? Completely free, right? This was made available to us. We checked it out. Dave and I discussed it, and I said, we've got to do this. Absolutely have to do this. So sit back and enjoy the testimony of some men who play football for a living, but for whom the most important person in their life is Jesus Christ. And enjoy the video, and it will contain a presentation of the gospel with it at the end. Thank you.
Welcome to Football Sunday, and you already know this, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Today is the day. When I played in the Super Bowl, I remember waking up on that morning and thinking exactly the same thing. After all the ups and downs of the season, after a rough road through the playoffs, and after a lifetime of working so hard for this moment, finally, today is the day. In the next few moments, you'll be hearing from players who are playing in today's Super Bowl. You'll also experience inspiring stories from NFL players that are learning to live in something we call the increase. Don't worry, we'll explain it as we go. So thanks so much for joining us. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Today is the day.
I'm a big gum chewer. As soon as I get to the stadium on game day, I put about 4, 5 sticks of gum in my mouth, and I chew it for maybe 2 minutes, and then I go get another 4 or 5.
I always have my headphones on, and I listen to various music, a lot of Christian music, I listen to some R&B and country as well, so smooth stuff.
I just remember watching all the games when I was a young kid with my friends' houses, you know, just going to their houses and sitting there and just wishing and praying and hoping that I'd get to a Super Bowl one day. Whether to watch one or to play in one. Obviously, to play in one would be nice.
When the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl, played the Steelers, and, you know, just got together with a few of my best buddies, and, you know, we had the whole, like, smorgasbord, you know, we had all kinds of bad stuff to eat.
And so we would always get together, our youth group, and we would have, like, Super Bowl parties. And it was kind of like all of the youth group kids are hanging out and doing their own thing with a football game in the background.
We all have events in our lives when our perspective changes. For the guys on the field today, just playing in the biggest game of their careers will change the way they view everything from here on out. I want to introduce you to an NFL player whose perspective on life has taken a radical turn. Brandon Marshall is a Pro Bowl wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. And ever since he's entered the league, he has proven that he is one of the best. But Brandon's personal life has not always been an easy one. As a matter of fact, he's gone through some life things that are way bigger than football.
Where I'm from, like, football is a way of life. It's like the culture. There wasn't basketball, there wasn't soccer, there wasn't baseball. So I can't even remember not having a football or not being a part of the game. It's like it's a part of my DNA. I remember taking a flight from Denver to Atlanta, and I had my Bible, and I guess I was trying to read it, you know, and there was this lady, she said, "Are you a Christian?" Why would she ask this? Like, isn't it obvious? But the way she asked in her facial expression made me really dig a little deeper. She saw, you know, how hesitant I was, and she said, "You know what? Just pray for clarity." So for 4 years, I began to pray for clarity every single day. I was in the most dysfunctional relationship, dysfunctional marriage ever. It was horrible. You have two people who really love each other but couldn't get it right. And my wife, you know, she just wasn't happy. I just thought a man was supposed to just provide. You know, I looked around and said, "You have a beautiful house, you have a roof over your head. You know, we can do anything we want when we want to do it. You know, why aren't you happy? We have money in our bank account." And I just couldn't get it. I thought that's what a man was. One day my wife came home and she said, "I'm going to church." And she's like, "Do you want to go?" I said, "No." So for a whole year, my wife would go to church with a friend. And I was so bitter. I was like, "Who is this person you're going to church with? You know, she doesn't know us. You know, you letting people in her business." That's how bitter I was. My wife was trying to do something really positive and change things for herself and us. And I'm sitting here worried about who she's going to church with. And I dove into the Word. I was relentless in my praying. I was relentless in my meditating on the Word. At that moment, you know, I had friends come around and say, "Hey, you need to really sit down and talk to someone." You know, and I found myself at McLean Hospital for 3 months, away from my wife, away from my home. I took something up there to Boston, to Waltham, Massachusetts, that I don't think anyone else in those groups took with them. And that was Jesus Christ. Every single day, every single night, I got on my knees. And I just begged God for him to give me clarity. Same prayer. After a month and a half being up there, you know, it was like, man, I'm feeling something I never felt before. God's revealing himself to me in ways ways he never, revealed himself to me. I remember having worship in my car by myself, listening to praise music. It was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm driving down the highway with my hands up. Like, what is this that I'm feeling? Like, I've been praying clarity for 4 years. I've been praying for the cycle to be broken for 4 years, and it's happened. She came over to tell me that she wasn't coming home. We never even got to that part of it. We just started talking and expressing ourselves and praying. She just felt something. She was like, this is a different man. And months later, that's when she finally told me. So I really was there to tell you that, I wasn't coming home. So I'm just so thankful that I had a praying wife, because I don't know where I would be. I was able to call my father and say, man, Dad, man, we're in a cycle, but this is how we can fix it. A year later, he ended up giving his life to Christ. My brother gave his life to Christ. My mother gave her life to Christ. My sister gave her life to Christ. We're stuck in this cycle, but we're stuck in the cycle because we don't understand the root of it. For us, we figured out what the root of it was, and that was the absence of Jesus in our homes, and now he's the center of everything that we do.
As you can see, Brandon really is an amazing person. He's known as a leader in the NFL and a mentor to a lot of young players. You know what? There's another amazing person with the story too. Are you ready for this? It's you. It's your church. It's your pastor. It's your leaders in your community and in your city. Today is the day, right? But what if today is the day for something bigger than just a Super Bowl? What if today's the day you see the world through different eyes, to see the story behind the story? Your church has already partnered with some great organizations that help meet the needs of the world, and you can get involved. It's amazing what God can do through broken people who just say yes to Him.
Everybody kind of looks at the height of it. They look at the Super Bowl. But the most important part that it has always been to me is just the journey.
You work hard as a youngster to get to high school to college, and college to pro.
My dad and I have always talked about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could play in this game? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And, coming out of high school, I wasn't really highly recruited, and right now it's just a dream come true, and I'm just so blessed to be here.
And it's been kind of a journey the whole way, and I feel like I have a ton of support behind me, and that really means a lot to me.
Most definitely, I would not be here without my mother. My mother is like my backbone. My father passed away when I was a young child, so I think my mother for sure, for instilling the things in me as a child to help me know what's right, know what's wrong, know what it means to work hard, see what it looks like when somebody works hard.
My dad was the one that kind of spearheaded the whole long snapping thing, and without him and his encouragement and pushing me and helping me and being there for me, I for sure wouldn't be here.
It's of course my dad, and I told him after our first Super Bowl, that's the first thing I said to him when I gave him a hug. I was like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, because he was the one throwing the football with me in the backyard, playing catch with me.
The next story we're going to tell you is one that's very special to my family and I. Matthew Hasselbeck and I walked through some very difficult times in life together, and his friendship has had a profound impact on my life. Remember in the Bible when John the Baptist says, "He must increase and I must decrease"? That really meant something important. It meant that it's on us to make our life less noticeable so his life is more noticeable. And Matthew's learned what it really means to live a life that's decreasing so the life of Christ can increase through him. This is his story.
My dad played football. When people would ask me what I wanted to do when I grew up, I would say, I don't know, I guess I'll just play in the NFL like my dad. I was drafted in the 6th round, pick 187. I can remember when I got the call from the Green Bay Packers. Andy Reid, the quarterback's coach, calls me and he says, hey, tell me what you think about this next pick. And I'm looking at the ticker and it's like Green Bay Packers. It starts flashing and it's my name. And I'm thinking, you guys are fools. No one else is going to draft me. I throw the phone up. I'm like, we're celebrating. I pick the phone back up. I'm like, hey, coach, you know no one is probably going to draft me. You know, like, you didn't need to draft me. But I was fired up. I get there, and I see they've got a ton of quarterbacks. But my coach came in, and he kind of instilled some confidence in me that I didn't have in myself. And one of the first things he says to me, he's like, listen, you need to believe that you can be the backup quarterback for this team. He was kind of like, he was a little churchy for me. I don't know. I was just very suspicious. Come to find out through years of being with him and then, you know, seeing him go through things in his life that the dude was legit. And he was a good friend and a great teammate. I got in the elevator and I was like critical of what the chaplain had talked about. I was like, man, I'm so glad this guy that I invited said no on our team, because the chaplain's never going to reach that guy with that kind of a message. And Trent looks at me, he's like, it's not the chaplain's job to reach that guy. It's the chaplain's job to teach you so that you can reach that guy. And I was like, whoa, really? I'm good at teaching a young quarterback the playbook. Hey, what do you do here on Fox 2 XY Hook? Oh, dude, the play action is the whole deal. And I'm going to tell you, 9 out of 10 times you're throwing the tight end. Unless they're in quarters coverage, you're going to throw the post. But otherwise, you're going to go to tight end, right to the X. And I guarantee the X is going to be open every single time. Unless they're playing 2-man on the backside, or it's press, bump, and run, then you're going to have your fullback. And it'll be easy gain, it'll be 2nd and 4. Like, I know that. I can give that away. I can share. And not only can I run the play, I can teach you the play. And so I wasn't at a point with my faith that I could share it in a way that I knew it. Like I knew the playbook. Like I was the starter. You know, I was like a rookie. Even though I had had the playbook for years, I didn't really know it. I wasn't making disciples. I was introducing people to the chaplain and feeling good about myself. There was a moment for me where I really felt something powerful that I can't even explain. It was last year, we were at a conference type thing, and I had invited our 2 young quarterbacks. I was like, man, I hope it's okay for them. I hope they like it. I mean, I like it. I hope they like it. And they were teaching on baptism. And I'm like walking to them thinking like, hey, I was going to tell them my baptism story about like, hey, I know it's a little, I don't know how you feel about this. And both of them and their wives said, hey, our team chaplain's not here. Would you be willing to baptize us? And I was just like, are you kidding me? God is present in all things, big or small, all the time. He can do anything he wants to do, with anyone he wants to do, through anyone he wants to do it with.
I love what Matthew